Greetings, followers of the First Order. My name is Corbin22, and welcome back to another 100-point squadron build discussion for Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures. In this series, we take a look at 100-point squad builds and discuss their competitive viability in the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game. For tonight, we're revisiting an very old squadron. Perhaps probably the first squadron I ever decided to make with my own little twist to it, and that is Rogue Squadron. Consisting of 3 of the Rebel Alliance's most elite pilots, we have Commander Wedge Antilles taking the lead. We have Wes Jansen taking his right wing, and Lieutenant Hobbie Klivian taking his left wing. Now, this is a synergistic build. However, the original build had its flaws. The fact that when I first tried it, the fact that the X-wings couldn't compensate for actions such as booster barrel rolls. With this particular revamp, this particular reimagination of the Rogue Squadron build, I've helped them. Help the X-wings here give upgrades to help them compensate for their lack of compensation for actions such as boost and barrel rolls. So, with that said, let's look at the squadron itself and how much it has changed. So, a little bit of change here and there. It's generally the same build, but I've added a few new upgrades to help maximize their combat efficiency even more, as well as work in complete tandem with each other. We're going to start this time with the left wingmate, and that is Wes Jansen. Coming in at a pilot skill of 8, he flies the Incom T-65 X-Wing for the Rebel Alliance. He has a standard stat line of an X-Wing. He has an attack value of 3, agility value of 2, hull value of 3, and a shield value of 2. His action bar consists of the focus and target lock actions. He costs 29 points to field. His upgrade bar consists of an elite upgrade, a warhead upgrade, an Astromech upgrade, as well as an unlisted tile modification. His pilot ability reads, after you perform an attack, you may remove 1 focus of 8 or blue target lock token from the defender. So, putting this as eloquently as I can, Wes Jansen is the stripper of the build. And no, not that kind of stripper. Get your minds out of the gutter, people. Stripper in the sense that after he attacks, he gets to remove a focus of 8 or blue target lock from the defender. So, defenders, if you don't use that focus or evade, Janssen's going to get rid of it for you, which helps set up Wedge a bit, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For his modification, chosen to go with a Munitions Failsafe. Coming in at a squad point count of 1, it reads, when attacking with a secondary weapon that instructs you to discard it to perform the attack, do not discard it unless the attack hits. So, if you roll your attack dice and you miss, you don't discard the secondary. Plain and simple. This came with the TIE Defender and the Z95 expansions, and it's a very valuable card for ships that rely heavily on secondary weapons like bombers and whatnot, or in this case for this particular squadron. For his elite upgrade, chosen to give him Veteran Instincts. Comes in the squad point cost of 1 and it reads increase your pilot skill value by 2. So Wes Jansen now goes from a pilot skill 8 to a pilot skill 10, allowing him to move last and attack first. The keyword being that the key behind the squadron being that he has to move, that he has to be able to attack first in order to set up for Wedge and Hobbie. For his secondary, his warhead, chosen Flechette Torpedoes. Used to be one of my personal favorites until I started using advanced torpedoes. Coming in at a squad point cost of 2, they have an attack value 3, can be used at range 2 to 3. It states, discard this card and spend your target lock to perform this attack. After you perform this attack, the defender receives 1 stress token if their hull value is 4 or lower. So basically, almost every starfighter in the game will take a stress, regardless if the Flechette torpedoes hit or miss. The thing is with the Flechettes, you kind of want to miss, because, like I said, regardless if the Flechettes hit or miss, the enemy is going to get stressed as long as their hull value is 4 or lower. Coupling that with the Munitions Failsafe, you can keep piling on the stress. You can keep missing with the torpedoes, keep piling on the stress, and cripple the opponent enough for your X-wings to move, the rest of your X-wings to move in and take full advantage of the enemy being stressed and whatnot. For his Astromech, what was on Wes Jansen used to be R3A2, which means he would get a stress, that they would get a stress, which is fine, which means the Flechette torpedoes would deal double stress. However, I find that's more crippling to Jansen than it is beneficial. So instead, I swap that out with BB-8. Coming in at a pilot's squad point cost of 2, he reads, when you reveal a green maneuver, you may perform a free barrel roll action. So this, I think, complements Jansen pretty well, because Jansen, he's going to be staying behind a bit, lagging behind the rest of the group, because he wants to stay within range 2 to 3 in order to use his torpedoes. BB-8 allows Janson to compensate for any ship taking a boost action by performing a barrel roll, and then he can perform a bank or a sharp turn to catch his, to make sure the target stays within his sights. However, you're going to be limited. The downside of this is you're going to be limited because the X-Wing only has 4 green maneuvers. All of its speed 1s and its straight speed 2 are green maneuvers. So hopefully the barrel roll will be enough to compensate if you ever need to do a soft 1. And then, of course, you'll be able to take a target lock afterwards for your Flechette torpedoes and dish out stress damage. Now, move on to the squadron leader and the rusher of the build. We have Commander Wedge Antilles himself. Coming in at a pilot skill of 9, he flies the Incom T-65 X-Wing for the Rebel Alliance. He has a standard stat line of an X-Wing, attack value 3, agility value 2, hull value 3, shield value 2. His action bar consists of the focus and target lock actions, also cost 29 points to field. And his upgrade bar consists of an elite upgrade, a warhead, an Astromech, as well as an unlisted tile modification. His pilot ability reads, when attacking, reduce the defender's agility value by 1 to a minimum of 0. Plain and simple, Wedge is a bomber killer. Any ship that has an agility value of 1, they are going to die by Wedge's hands because Wedge will strip them completely of their agility roll, provided they stay within range 2 to 1. Preferably range 1, so that way you'll get that extra dice from for your attack bonus. Before, Wedge did not have a modification. Now, I've given him an engine upgrade for his modification. Coming in at a squad point cost of 4, it reads, your action bar gains the boost action icon. So now Wedge Antilles can take a focus, target lock, or a boost. And I think this will help Wedge especially because Wedge is a rusher. I mean, the idea with Wedge is he's full on offense. You're going to be taking full advantage of Wedge's ability, getting in as close as you can, attacking at range, attacking primarily at range 1 and preferably outside the enemy's firing arc so you don't get shot at. Because while the X-Wings have a pretty decent attack, their agility values kind of suffer a little. And of course, the engine upgrade, again, will help you compensate for the enemy manages to slip out of your firing arc. You can just do a boost and hopefully get that little extra distance, get the enemy just inside your arc, and then just attack them full force. To complement his ability, I've chosen to give him Opportunist, which stacks well when paired with Wes Jansen and his upgrades. Opportunist states, when attacking, if the defender does not have any focus or evade tokens, you may receive a stress token to roll 1 additional attack die. You cannot use this ability if you have any stress tokens. So it comes in a pilot skill, squad point cost of 4. It allows Wedge to have 1 extra attack dice at the cost of getting a stress. The only downside, that's one of the downsides. The other downside is the opponent cannot have focus or evade tokens on them when using this upgrade. However, Wes Jansen helps to clear that because he'll be attacking first with the Vet Instincts. He'll be a pilot skill 10. After he attacks, he'll be able to remove the focus or evade that's on the target, and then Wedge can swoop in with Opportunist. Get in at range 1, he'll get 5 attack dice with the attack range bonus plus Opportunist. He'll get stressed, and of course, basically have his primary weapon value be the same attack stat as an advanced torpedo. So, again, Wedge is a heavy full-on offense with the engine upgrade and Opportunist. However, he's going to get stressed if you keep spamming with Opportunist. To help get rid of the stress, as well as stay on your opponent's tail, I've chosen to give him an R2 Astromech. So this much hasn't changed about him. Coming in at a squad point cost of 1, it reads, you may treat all 1 and 2 speed maneuvers as green maneuvers. So all of Wedge's speed 2 maneuvers now become greens, allowing him to better stay on his opponent's tail and get rid of the stress induced by Opportunist. And as long as Janson stays close in proximity of the same or as long as Janson stays within the same range as the target that Wedge is firing at, these two can work in complete tandem. He deals stress and strips away the opponent's focus or evades, and then Wedge can once again spam with Opportunist, get in at range 1, dish out another 5 attack dice. Now, for the last wingmate of the group, we have Derek Hobbie Klivian. Coming in at a pilot skill of 5, he flies the Incom T-65 X-Wing for the Rebel Alliance. Same stat line as the other two, attack 3, agility 2, hull 3, shield 2. His action bars consist of the focus and target lock actions, cost 25 points to field. And his upgrade bar consists of a warhead, an Astromech, as well as an unlisted tile modification. His pilot ability reads, when you acquire or spend a target lock, you may remove 1 stress token from your ship. So Hobbie is pretty good at stress management, so long as he keeps taking target locks. And you're going to be doing that a lot with Hobbie, because you're going to be stressing him out a lot as well. But first, let's look at his modification. We've given him an integrated Astromech. It's an X-Wing only modification, comes in a squad point cost of 0. Basically, it's a free hull upgrade for both the T-65s and the T-70 X-Wings. It reads, when you're dealt a damage card, you may discard one of your Astromech upgrade cards to discard that damage card without resolving its effect. Especially handy against critical hits, because this allows you to choose what damage you can get rid of. I was playing one of my league matches, and one guy managed to dish out a hit and crit onto Hobbie. I used my integrated Astromech to I took the regular hit, but I used integrated Astromech to cancel out the crit. And Hobbie was limping, but he was in better shape than he could have been with the crit damage. Now, for his Astromech, he originally had R2-D6, which allowed him to take Opportunist. This time, I've given him R3-A2. It was a bit of a toss-up between this and the targeting Astromech, because the targeting Astromech complements his ability to take red maneuvers and turn them into white maneuvers, essentially. But I find this is better because, again, it helps out with Wes Jansen, his ability to deal with stress. Comes in at a squad point cost of 2, and it reads, when you declare the target of your attack, if the defender is inside your firing arc, you may receive a stress token to cause the defender to receive a stress token. See how this works? Hobbie moves. He's going to take his target lock action. When he's attacking, if the guy's in his firing arc, he's going to use R3-A2 to either stress himself out so the enemy gets a stress. And of course, if they're attacking all the same target, Wes Jansen is also going to be dealing out stress damage with the Flechette torpedo, so that means the target is double stressed. You attack, you spend your target lock, which removes the stress thanks to Hobbie's ability, so Hobbie is stress-free, and the guy has 2 stresses and you have none. That's the idea. That's the new idea behind the build. Return in a moment just to show exactly how to put it into action. Okay, we got everything in its order here. We got our X-Wings ready to bear down on IGB, I believe this is, and I believe his ability states if he takes a boost, he gets a free evade. So we're going to start with Hobbie first, because he has the lowest pilot skill. For his, I'm going to have him just do a soft 1. Actually, no, I'm going to have him do a soft 2. Like so. That, he's going to get in, try and get as close as he can, and then his action is going to be a target lock onto IGB, like that. Now IGB, I'm going to have him perform a Signer's Loop. Let's see, have him go this way. See what I can do here. You know what? I'm going to move him over just a little bit in order to help make this work. So he's going to do a Signer's Loop, like that. He's going to get himself stressed for it, but at least he'll have an attack to be able to attack back. He'll get a stress from that. Just realized I need to get some more stress tokens. Just a second here. 1, 2. That'll do it. 3 more stress to do it. Alright, now it's Wedge. First of all, it's going to be Wedge. Wedge is going to be doing a hard 2. Now, he will have IG in his IGB in his range, I believe. Let me just check a quick measurement here. Yes, it'll be a range 2. Just barely in range 2. However, do we need to boost with him? Yeah, we'll do a boost. We're going to have Hobbie, or Wedge here take a boost action. That way he'll get at range 1. Be a bit of a risk. But say, for example, he's using a heavy laser. He won't be able to use the heavy laser, but he'll have an attack value of 4. Okay, he's there. Now, Janson, he's going to be doing a soft 1, or a soft 1 as well, but first he's going to trigger BB-8, get himself that free barrel roll. He's going to then take his maneuver. I just realized I'm a little too close. Yeah, I'm a little too close to him, so for this example, we're not going to have him use BB-8, but you can see the idea. BB-8 would have allowed him to compensate for IGB taking a boost or whatever. We're just going to have him take his maneuver. That'll put him at range 2, hopefully, or keep him at range 2. Oh yeah, he'll be able to attack. Like that. And his action is also going to be a target lock. Target locking onto IGB. Like that. Okay, now we start. Janson gets to shoot first. Let's say for this example, just for this example only, we're going to give him a focus. We're going to give IGB a focus. Even though he's stressed, I know he just did Slightner's loop, but for this example, he's going to get a focus. Janson's going to shoot with his Flechette, so he's going to spend his target lock, get his 3 dice. IGB is going to get 3 dice. And we have hit crit. And we have blanks. Okay, so IG takes 2, so that means Janson will lose his torpedo. IGB takes 2 shields, and because his hull value is 4, he gets a stress, and Janson's ability strips him of his focus. Now it's on to Wedge. Wedge is going to be shooting at point blank range. He's going to get 4 dice. IGB is going to lose 1 dice because of his ability. And then Wedge is going to stress himself out with Opportunist to give himself a 5th dice. It's going to be a 5-on-2 with no modifiers. So pure luck you're relying on here. And now that I get 2 hits. And look at that, another 2 shields gone. Like that. Now Hobbie's turn. Hobbie's going to attack. I believe it's a range 2 shot. Let me just quickly double check. Hang on. Yes, I'm going to say that's barely in range 2. His corner is just crossing the border. So it's going to be another 3-on-3. So 3-on-3. And before I attack, I'm going to stress Hobbie so that IGB gets a stress. Now we got here, IGB has 3 stress tokens. Hobbie's going to roll for his attack. And okay, let's modify this a bit. Let's say this was a focus in a blank. Hobbie's going to spend, say that's a focus in a blank. Hobbie's going to then spend his target lock, which will get rid of the stress because of his ability. Reroll these 2 results. He's going to get another hit from that. IGB. Duvate. So he's safe from damage, but look at IGB. 3 stresses, all from both from Janson and from Hobbie. Wedge is stressed out as well because of Opportunist, but because he's the Archer Astromech, he'll be able to clear that. He'll be able to clear that action, or he'll be able to clear that stress pretty easily, and then he can follow up with like a boost focus or target lock. And then of course Janson, you're going to want to stay behind it. But now that Janson's lost his torpedoes, you can kind of afford to go close with him now. You won't be able to deal stress, but of course with Hobbie around, that'll kind of change a bit. And personally, I think this is a much better version of the Rogue Squadron build that I originally had, or than the one that was originally created. But I'll let you guys decide. So if you think this is a better build than the last. Anyway, this has been a revisit of the Rogue Squadron build. I'm going to call this the Rogue Squadron Mark III because I had another one before this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all your support. If you like, you may use this build for any competitive or casual play, or you may tweak it or revamp it in your to your own modifications. Thank you guys very much for watching, and remember everyone, the dark side will always be with you. Glory to the First Order.